All right, now that we are in the mood to learn about the various parts of the check, if you would go ahead and flip to packet page 9 in your note packet. You can see that there is a blank check with various boxes. What you're going to go ahead and do is fill out those boxes as we go along. You may or may not see this check as a pop quiz within the next 24 to 48 hours, so plan accordingly. Let's take a look at the first box where the arrow is pointing down towards John Smith. That is what we call the drawer. Okay, shifting over to the right a little bit where it states paid to the order of Mrs. Epstein. The person who is receiving that check and who can act on that check is the payee. If you remember from section 1 notes, we discussed that, so that should be somewhat of a review. Looking over to the right where it says where the arrow is pointing towards number 324, that is your check number. Shifting down just a little bit where the arrow is pointing to Mid-America Bank, that is what we call the drawee. Okay, the bank is the drawee. They are the individuals that hold all your money, and you can write your checks, and the bank has to go ahead and act upon those checks when the individual who receives the check wants to do so. Shifting down towards the left where the arrow points up to 0711034421, that is what we call the routing number. Okay, looking over to the right where the arrow is pointing to 138421138, that's what we call the account number. Again, you will see the number 324 again. That's the check number. Those two numbers should be the exact same at all times. If it's not, it is what they call a fraudulent check. Where Mr. John Smith is and the arrow is pointing up, that is called the drawer's signature. Each check needs to be signed in order to make sure that it is in fact a valid check. Now we talked about a couple different types of endorsements. So below the check, there might be some open room. If you would just kind of go ahead and draw the little examples that I have in front of you, we talked about each of the types of checks or how you can go ahead and endorse them. But I want you to actually see what it would look like. So as you can see in front of you, we have the back of a check. Okay, the very first one that we're going to do is what we call a blank endorsement. This is just your typical endorsement. If you are cashing it or depositing it, all you have to do is simply sign the back of it, take it to the bank teller, and they will go ahead and do what you want with it. The next type that we have is what we call a restrictive endorsement. Okay, this is just plainly stating, hey, this is only what can be done with it. So if in the event that the check is stolen, nobody can go ahead and cash it or do anything other than what it says on the back. So this check is going to be for deposit only. Okay, as with any type of check, you need to have a signature on the back to endorse it. Okay, so in the event that you lose this check, you can someone decides they want to try to steal it. Well, guess what? The only thing that can be done is have that check be deposited into your bank account. The very last type of endorsement is a special endorsement. As we discussed in class, this is in the event that you need to sign a check over to someone. You might owe them money. You don't want to go to the bank yourself. You got this check that's just the right amount for the amount that you owe that person. You can simply go ahead and just sign the check over. So what we would go ahead and do for this one is simply write pay to the order of, and I'm going to make it out to Drake Weber. And in order for it to actually be endorsed, last thing that you need to do is sign it to validate it. Okay, so this lesson basically taught us the various parts of the check, as well as 3 different types of endorsements. Get excited. Prepare for the possible pop quiz, and we will see you in class tomorrow.